Welcome to another episode of the CPG Guys podcast. Our co-hosts, Sri Rajagopalan and Peter V.S. Bond, explore how brands and retailers engage with consumers online, in-store, and everywhere in between. And now, here are Sri and Peter.
Welcome to all our listeners to this episode of the CPG Guys. You can find all our content on cpgguys.com. And while you're there, if you scroll through, you'll see we are on 15 plus podcasting platforms and on Instagram as well. And if you click on the podcasting platforms, we'd love for you to go to the Apple one, which you can also find on tinyurl.com/Apple CPG podcast, and leave us a rating and review and tell us what you think of the show and what you'd like to hear from us. Today is a very special day because we've had the pleasure of actually recording folks from Walmart and Sam's Club back to back on the same day. Irrespective of when these are featured, it was a special day for me because working with the world's most elite retailer and the piece of the elite retailer, Sam's Club, this is just a unique day and an awesome day for brands in general for me, having touched a variety of brands across multiple subcategories. But without further ado, let me welcome my co-host, the loyalty captain, the CRM captain, the data and insights captain, and what I lovingly now call as the comic relief on the show. Welcome, Mr. Peter Bond.
Captain, how do I get a promotion? I think I need more stripes on my shirt.
Oh, he's getting greedy. You want general now?
Sri, you are the flotsam to my jetsam, the Frodo to my Sam, and the gin to my tonic. Best part of the week is doing this podcast with you, so great to see you and looking forward to today's conversation. We've got a good one.
You know, the gin and the tonic works, but what are we going to do, Peter, when we get to rum and having both worked for Pepsi? So we got to watch that one
carefully. I was struggling on that one because that's where we part our ways.
Steven's by now thinking, where have I shown up? But I want to welcome our special guest today. He and I have been exchanging direct messages on LinkedIn, trolling each other. I know we share the common views on digital transformation, digital retail, everything e-commerce. We both do come from a brick and mortar background, so we have experience doing that on that side of the fence as well. And in the last 10 years, we've, just like me, Steven has also moved into the digital and e-commerce world, and it'll be very often that you find us exchanging comments, messages, and our viewpoints with each other on LinkedIn, and sometimes even friendly challenging each other. So I'm thrilled to have a media leader from Sam's Club with us today, a sister of or part of the Walmart family of retailers. My humble personal belief, which Peter and I share, is a road to success for any brand in CPG passes through Walmart. And today, what we're hoping, Steven, as we ask you to introduce yourself, is we'll get to the uniqueness and the differences between the traditionally scaled model at Walmart and what the opportunities are with Club, and we can take a much deeper dive into the world of media with Club. So Steven, welcome to the show, and I'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Quick introduction on myself. I've worn a lot of different hats in a lot of different industries, but I've always come back to marketing. And I love the intricacies and the different functions inside of that. And I think most functions do end up touching marketing in some way or another. And that led me to Walmart about 6 years ago, joined the marketing department, was in digital there, was in media. Like you said, I was doing a lot of brick and mortar marketing work. But quickly that led me into more e-commerce. I mean, I saw multiple reports, just I think as you all have seen, that the e-commerce trend was massive. You know, very few trends on the planet are double-digit year over year, every single year. And that just got me super excited about this space, focused more of my effort here. Found my way launching a media business and an ad revenue business at Voodoo for a few years. And now I am at Sam's Club helping run our media business over here and scaling this thing up double-digit growth every single year as well. So really excited to be here with you all. And we work a ton with CPGs. As you know, these are our key partners and exactly the types of people that we spend a lot of time and energy with, and excited that you had me join you today.
Thank you so much for coming on board, Steven. And I see this as a 1-2 punch between our Walmart conversation and now the club conversation with Sam's Club. So speaking of CPG and brands and partnerships, let's dive right into it with the first question over here, which is, lately, if you've been following the news, folks, in 2020, Walmart and WMG have really stepped up the game with all things digital and e-commerce this year, including how the merchant conversations take place. There's been the announcement of WalmartPlus. There's the fateful drone test. As many people may feel, hey, is that sci-fi? It's actually happening in 2020. And
Yeah.
And then there's the click and collect penetration. Walmart is seriously now a place for click and collect. If your business model in fast-moving grocery is driving its growth through Walmart, click and collect is a reality today. And then the partnership with Instacart. So if I look at Sam's Club, what's going on at Sam's Club from a digital and e-commerce perspective following all these amazing things at Walmart?
Yeah, absolutely. Coming over from the Walmart side, I was very pleasantly surprised to come to Sam's and find this place has been a innovation powerhouse. If you're a Sam's Club member, it's probably a little more apparent, but in the last few years, I'd say maybe 3.5 years ago, the company launched something called Scan and Go. It was a separate app and it had great adoption. But in the last year, we've integrated that app directly into our core Sam's Club app. And things have just really skyrocketed. Users have figured out that Scan and Go is a massive benefit. Forget those huge lines. You walk around, scan your items, you check out, you scan a barcode at the exit, and you're done. It's pretty special for us. It's something that we've been working on and improving for many years now. I would say that's probably one of the biggest things. Sri, actually, Sam's Club has been leading the way there internally. I think Walmart's been picking up some cues. Another thing that Sam's Club's been leading is something called Club Pickup. It's certainly in the same realm of Walmart grocery pickup. It's just our version of that. We've got a lot of adoption and growth there. Some other initiatives and things you've seen, some internal things, and of course our ad business that I work on, that's been growing massively. So I'm really proud of this side of the business. I think Walmart definitely gets most of the PR. But hey, Sam's Club is a $60 billion business. It's no small piece of the pie. And of my time at Walmart and Voodoo and Sam's, I'm really, really enjoying this time here at Sam's.
Hey, no kidding, Steven. If we thought of this as the non-PR model and the model that's too small, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We think of Sam's Club as, just as we say, a journey for brands in fast-moving consumer goods passes through Walmart. This is where it passes through the club model. So I personally would tell you, and I know Peter shares my sentiment, partnering with Sam's Club in 2020 is almost non-negotiable. But before we move on to another question, I, for one, haven't experienced the scan and go much because I tend to buy inside of Walmart more than I use the club model. I think our users will benefit significantly if you take time to tell us a little bit more details about the scan and go and how it works. Like, do you check out a barcode when they come in, and then is it cashierless transaction? Like, how does this whole experience work?
Yeah, so basically what happens is, imagine you're walking into the club. We don't ask for your membership on the way in. It's a little more accessible in that way versus our competitor. And you walk around, you look at the items that you like, you pull out your phone, and there's a little button. As soon as you open up your app, it's actually going to prompt a screen for you to start scanning. It's got a little bit of technology involved there to go directly into that. You follow the prompt, it literally pulls up a barcode. It looks very similar to say a QR code reader, if you've ever used anything like that. And you literally just move it over the top of the barcode on the box or the item, and it will pop up. You you can say whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many units you're looking to add, and then you go find your next item and you build your cart that way. Once you've finished your cart, you don't do anything other than you skip past those long lines and you go all the way to the exit, and there will be a nice associate there at the end who has a little a reader, and they'll read a barcode for you from your app. So you hit checkout on your app. It's another QR code type identifier. They scan it. They say you're good to go, and you're done. You didn't have to touch anyone. They didn't touch any of your stuff. It was totally touchless, in and you're out.
One of the things, Peter, I want to point out as I hand it over to Peter I'm sorry that I'm keeping on dragging on, is there's a lot of transformation taking place in the CPG industry and in retail, digital retail. Currently, this is happening so fast that you were right, Steven, when you said that, this doesn't get a lot of PR, but just listening to you speak and this capability that Sam's Club has, this is nothing short of incredible for shoppers to be able to use a scan and go and in a few seconds check out, beat the lines, and especially during these times. Wow, we should be talking and obsessing about this a whole lot more.
As opposed to the cashierless grocery solution that we've been hearing promoted in the news more recently, what I hear is a nominal hardware investment. It's really the device at the end of the experience. The hardware investment is done by the shoppers, and it's something they've already invested in, their smartphones. And it's simply downloading an app. Brilliant. Much better than having to invest in a technological card or other things that make it challenging. I also say as a club shopper, to eliminate during the pandemic the incredibly long lines that can be experienced in that format, bravo to you. That's a godsend to consumers. So very customer centric. So when we look at retail media, it's been around for quite a while, but in 2020, obviously Walmart Media Group got involved in CES, Top to Tops, and they're really kind of leading the way for creating these omnichannel partnerships. What are you doing on Sam's side to kind of complement or even leapfrog that, and how do you see that developing?
I was on the Walmart business when advertising was kind of a second thought. Ad revenue in this way, the channel wasn't necessarily a focus for the company. In the last few years, it's really changed. Doug came out and identified a few areas of focus, and he actually specifically said advertising was a key revenue growth initiative for Walmart and for the company. And it seems like ever since then, things have just been a roller coaster of growth for all of us. I think additionally, looking at the landscape, it's quite apparent that Amazon focused in this area. Looking at their numbers, there's estimates that they're going to do 13 or 14 billion in ad revenue this year in retail media. For those of us in the retail and e-commerce and omnichannel game, it's imperative that we gain our fair share of that business. Frankly, every grocer should be thinking about that if they're not.
Yeah.
Every retailer should. So what have we done? Well, we've looked at how big our business is. We've looked at what we think our fair share of that business should be, and we've set in motion plans to develop tools and value for the CPG suppliers that exist, that generate incremental revenue, that generate incremental benefit, incremental insights, and it's paid off in huge dividends for us. Our ad business isn't forced on any suppliers, it's asked of them, but it's absolutely helping them grow, helping them achieve their digital growth numbers. And as a result, our revenue is doubling year over year for the past 3 years. So it's a great time to be in this business.
So you just mentioned, Steven, that this is helping your suppliers grow. So could we dive into that a little bit and just wear the supplier lens now for a second? how has supplier, aka brand response been to Sam's now offering a media capability? And do people realize or brands realize that this is not just a lower funnel conversion moment, while I'm sure that's hogging up most of the oxygen in the room in an actual campaign? In reality, this should be a lot about amplification. You know, Sam's Club, as you mentioned, is a $60 billion company on its own. What's going on with your partners, and do they sense that this is a media moment?
I think for depends who you talk to. So a lot of the CPGs, they've got functions and teams, and if you're talking to a salesperson, I think they're going to be mostly interested in the direct response aspects, the immediate sales. There maybe there's some benefit to them on the brand and the media aspect of it. If you talk to a shopper marketing person, they might actually get excited about both sales and the upper funnel and the brand building, the market share, that kind of stuff. If you happen to get involved with the brand dollars team, at the headquarters, I think they definitely see, because they're also seeing a lot of their dollars going into our competition and other retailers, and they're seeing the value because they're across other retailers. So I think it depends a little bit on who you're working with. The bigger brands are absolutely catching on to this very, very quickly, especially in the last year and a half. Things have just accelerated at an incredible rate for us. We've got alignment now, which is quite special for our company. We've got alignment across our marketing and ad business with the merchants, and all the way to the top, all the way to our CEO. Yeah, that's no easy feat. So it makes it so much easier for everyone to ask for the same things. No one's forcing anything. We're showing value to you, the suppliers, and at the same time, it's benefiting us, so we can reinvest into these tools like Scan and Go, free shipping, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, to me, when I hear you say that, I feel like you're one step ahead of the parent Walmart. Between Scan and Go, which is, again, nothing short of incredible, we should be obsessing and talking about it much more in the industry, and one vertical now leading up to the merchant in partnership with the media side of the fence. Like you said, that's no easy feat to achieve, so congratulations.
Thank you. I give all the benefit to my boss and my boss's boss, but we have been working on it for a while, and I'm super pumped to be where we're at right now. It's a big change.
Steve, when I'm not spending my day podcasting with Shri, I moonlight as the VP of Retail Strategy at Power Review. So I work in a number of different verticals, including club, including grocery. And what I know that's very different about club is that the customer that you target with media is not necessarily, or not even predominantly, someone who is shopping for a household. They may be shopping for an institution or a business. So I'm kind of curious about what you do that is different in some ways from your partners at Walmart Media Group. Can you give us a little bit about what your reach is and how you think about offering communication solutions to someone who isn't necessarily thinking about shopping for taking things home to their family?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, if you look back at our history at Sam's Club, when Sam Walton first opened up Sam's Club, the whole business model was focused towards business owners, just exactly like you said, and restaurant owners and hotels and people that are buying things in bulk, but don't necessarily have a distributor relationship that they're working with. And so there we are. We're already working with the same brands. Let's just get a bigger pack and get a discount because we've got volume there. That's how Sam's Club started, and I'd say we did focus on that for many, many, many years. And up until probably the last, say, 2 years, that was our focus. We have spent a lot of time and energy trying to understand who our core customer is. We've got over 30 million customers. Quite a big chunk of the US population is a Sam's Club member. Not everyone, of course, but a big chunk as far as the adults go anyway. And we actually gathered some insights, and I'll give total credit to our CMO, Tony Rogers, for this. But we determined that our Sam's Club member, our core member, is actually a mom. She's a mom that likes to have people come over to her house, or the neighbors. She's got some older kids who are, she'd like to have the neighborhood kids and their friends come to her house. So she's going to have bulk snacks, bulk food, bulk treats, because they go through so much of it. She's running around. She's very busy. She probably works and has a day job. And like you said, moonlighting as a mom and focusing on that. So she's very, very busy, and that's a pretty big shift in the club model thinking, at least the way we think about it and the way we talk about things now. So we've tailored a lot of our business to her now more than ever before. So the products we sell, the sizes of products we sell, our ad business, the sales results that we see, it is going towards that mom, that millennial, probably millennial, maybe a little bit older, maybe a little younger mom, and her busy life. There are absolutely still businesses involved, and it's not a core focus of ours anymore. We used to have multiple tiers of membership. One of them was a business tier. One thing we do offer, though, because we're not offering all those same things like the business tier and all those things, we do offer some benefits to business owners. Depending on your market, I believe you can go into the club at a different time or earlier than the general public. If you are buying wholesale, you can strike different wholesale agreements. You might not know this, but we sell trucks of oil, literal trucks of oil. So it is a part of our business. So we have a lot of aspects, but things have changed a little bit over here.
So Steven, speaking of change and transformation in the industry, I want to come back to media, the role that you're in today, and I would love for you to share for our audience the details of all the various tools, offerings, etc., that brands and partners, your suppliers, vendors, etc., could take advantage of. As an e-commerce leader, the first thing that comes to mind is really search and SEM, but the world of media is 30 things more, and search and SEM is really just one tiny portion of it. But that's what salespeople think of because they're focused on the ROAS number and the bottom of the funnel conversion. Could you decompose for us all the various tools and offerings that Sam's Club has in this space?
Absolutely. And where to start there? So our business originally was pretty simple display ads on samsclub.com. And just a few years ago, that's all it was. We did have some data components to that, but we quickly realized we couldn't rely on our big brother, Walmart, for all of the data and the reporting and the targeting. In the past, maybe 10 years, that is what we had to rely on. So we had to change things up a little bit over here. Advertising today is most efficient when you've got the right types of data for targeting, whether it's building audiences of buyer behavior or audiences based on demographic data, or also audiences based on where they're at on the site. So for us, what we identified a few years ago as a key necessary requirement was we needed to up our data game. So you might have seen in the news, you might not. Sri, we've got a partnership with your old company, your friends over at IRI.
Indeed.
We've got a relationship with them where we've got a lockbox of our own stuff, and they help us maximize and use our own data. It doesn't go anywhere else. It's locked in that box only for us to use, and it's safe there. Members' data is very safe. We take privacy and everything very, very seriously. But I would say that's probably our biggest secret sauce, is making that buyer data available. Because you think about 30 million members, it's a little different when you've got a membership base. We have a lot of deterministic data on who you are, and frankly, you agreed to make that stuff available for targeted advertising that makes things more relevant to you. So you look at what we have: email, address, name, card holder for every single member. That's a pretty big deal versus a traditional retailer who might get a credit card number and purchase info. Might, if someone uses cash, or if someone uses food stamps, EBIT, anything like that, that's non-traceable. So you think about how many transactions are just kind of lost or not you can't extrapolate against that with any consistency. So you think about every single sale that happens at Sam's Club as now being deterministic. We can use that model to be way more specific and way more targeted. So that's the first part. We spend a lot of energy developing that capability.
So Steven, I interpret, and I want to make sure I got that right. So I interpret that as brands will now have an opportunity in partnership with Sam's Club via media on Sams.com to be very super hyper targeted based on what they're really after.
Yeah, that is what it is. We typically develop a variety of tactics for any particular media plan, but one sweet spot is having access to that data. It's not available anywhere else.
Yeah, my background is having worked at both dunnhumby on the Kroger data and then Extra Care at CVS. And I can tell you that I always looked with incredible envy at the club format, because every single transaction, to your point, can be longitudinally connected to a household. And if that's addressable, it is such a rich data asset. So bravo for understanding that and for building that into your targeting mechanism. Incredibly powerful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Steven, I feel like I muted out some other things you wanted to share when I kind of tried to reconfirm, because we hit the tip of the iceberg with the hyper targeting, but what about all the other tools and offerings on media?
I'll do the next part in two phases. The next part is for reporting, and then the next part I'll talk about our various ad products. So for reporting, this is the next part of our secret sauce. Everything is addressable. Every transaction, we know who it was, and we know which ads they saw. If you go into Sam's Club today in New Jersey or wherever the nearest one is, and you had just looked on your phone because you're curious what the best price of a TV is, or if you were looking to buy bulk paper towels because you own a restaurant or something, and you happen to come across a promotion or an ad on our site, on our app, on our email, anywhere actually, we know it was you because we capture all that data. And then when you go in, you walk around the store and you end up buying that paper towel, we know it was because of that ad that you had some attribution to it. But that's only part of it. That would be an ad exposed sale.
Yep.
What we have to then do is we have to use some statistics and some math, and this is part of the really secret stuff and the sweet stuff that IRI helps us with. We have to figure out if you were going to buy that paper towel anyway. If you didn't see the ad, would you have bought the paper towel anyway? And we do that at scale. We do it on a mass level, both online and in club. If you ended up just buying it through samsclub.com, that would fall into our model in the same way. We would just track it through a different channel. So bringing together the in-club, the online attribution, plus an incremental revenue number on top of what would have already happened is where the sweet spot is. It's where the real value is for the CPG, for the supplier, because then you're able to say, great, if I do this, I get more revenue. It's not just a ROAS. You know, you run an ad on Amazon.com or any other competitor, for example, almost always you're only seeing an ad exposed sale. So how do you know if you would have got that sale anyway? You don't.
That's correct.
Because you're stuck assuming, and you're stuck hoping that that ad was the reason why.
You, sir, are a true media guy.
I geek out about this stuff, Sri.
This is awesome. This is what we wanted to get into. But I feel there's a third part coming still, which is the tools.
There is, yeah. So actually what I've been most focused on over the last year is helping upgrade and step up our ad products. Our product business is what I lead for the Sam's Club Media Group right now. I have them broken out into 3 pillars. I have the ad product, which is the ads that CPGs buy into. I have the data product, which I was just talking about, and then I have the tech product, which is the internal tools that it takes for us to manage this crazy business of thousands of campaigns every single year. So I manage all that stuff. The ad product that I'll talk with you about right now is it's a passion of mine. It's immediately tied to revenue. And so it's a resume builder. It's something I really love. So what I've done there is I've built a roadmap. Some of these things I'll talk with you about because they're more immediate and things I've done recently and we've done recently, and I'll hint to some other things that are coming. But the big thing that you have to know here is we're still a display ad business for now. We don't currently have sponsored products at scale. We do on certain portions of our site. We've been testing that for about a year now. But our ad products that we've really been upping is like going back to that alignment I told you about with our merchants and our CEO and our total company. If you don't have alignment, it's very hard to get ad placement and display ads on the site that are valuable to you and to suppliers and to the CPGs. Very hard. Now we've been able to lean into that in a big way. We've got more display ads on our site than we've ever had before. If you go there right now, if you go to samsclub.com, you will see some display ads. You'll see most of them being ad served. And that's a humongous win for us, because when an ad is site served, meaning someone manually uploads an image, we can't put in all of the tags for attribution at scale. Previously, we were doing a lot of this stuff by hand. So we've had to come out of sort of the stone age of digital media into now and today. Almost every single ad is ad served. Almost every single ad is tracked, addressable, targetable, reportable. That's huge. Even our big POVs, when you go to samsclub.com, those big, huge banners at the very top, the ones of it's a scroller, but the ones in there that are ad paid for by suppliers, that's ad served, targetable, addressable, reportable. That's been a big, humongous initiative for me. The next big initiative for me was the app. Forever, we had 0 ads in the Sam's Club app. And luckily, I feel very fortunate. Last year, we got this alignment and we were able to lean into the app really hard. We had to, to do anything new, you have to get approval from 10 people. It was at least 10 people. But we were able to get ads in the Sam's Club app. And at the same time, Scan and Go was merged into the core app. So pre-COVID, we had massive volume going through the app because of Scan and Go, and now it's through the roof. It's literally hitting astronomical numbers at this point. People are coming back to the club. They're searching for things all over the app. They're seeing lots of ads. They're using the ads and taking advantage of the promotions that are shared to them in those ads, buying more products, buying more CPG or CPG supplier products. And that is that's an 8-figure business that we were able to add in over the last year. And that's probably my crowning achievement so far.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Steven, I also am a data geek. And when I think about serving up very personalized experiences, what you've been talking about, if I could, I'd keep you on this podcast for 4 more hours because we go crazy. But I'll tell you this, what I learned very, very clearly during my time doing this was to your point, when things have to be more manual, instead of getting the most and the right number of potential experiences or offers, you end up going for ones that are very broad, and then they end up not being nearly as relevant and personalized. So bravo.
Spot on.
Let me get us out of the weeds because I will stay there forever. Trust me. Let's bring it back up and talk.
I enjoyed that thoroughly, by the way. And
No,
Steve
I
knows I can geek out with him on this for hours.
Well,
I hope
geek out.
And we're going to have, Steven, we're going to have you back because I do want to geek out with you on this stuff.
Okay.
But let's go to 30,000 feet.
Okay.
What we see happening with Big Brother is that they are unifying their merchandising online, offline together. We see that happening at a competitor up in Minnesota. I'm kind of curious what's going on with Sam's Club and ultimately, if it is moving that direction, what you see is the implication for your contribution to JVPs and QBRs and things like that.
Yeah, it's actually, it's huge for us. It's huge for our ad business. It's huge for suppliers. I joined Sam's Club a little over 2 years ago, coming up on 2.5 years. When I first came, everything was separated. E-com was separate from brick and mortar.
Yep.
Suppliers had to deal with a e-com buyer, and they had to deal with an in-club buyer.
Yeah.
It's not easy if you're Pepsi, if you're P&G, if you're, any supplier for that matter. How do you plan? One buyer wants this, another one wants that. Well, I'm doubling my SKU count because I got to have different packaging, et cetera. It was tough. So we recognized that was an issue. The leadership here recognized that was an issue, and a very, very forward-thinking leadership team launched a plan to make all of our merchants omnichannel about a year and a half ago, actually. And it started in food, and it went to consumables and health and wellness after that. And now our entire business, all of the merchants are now omnichannel.
It's fantastic.
Even including furniture, electronics, everyone is unified. If you're a buyer at Sam's Club, you buy both.
Fantastic. Well,
Yeah,
I mean, that is a special moment. So my clear takeaway from that message is the merchandiser, the buyer, call it what you may. Obviously now, you also spoke to how media is unified. So in that sort of model, when they talk to suppliers, vendors, as the case might be, and vendors are engaging with them, how does media actually come together on Sam's? Is it a platform where suppliers can self-serve? Do they work with someone like you? Is there a team involved? And then how are the campaign targets actually agreed upon? And then post-campaign, how does Sam's actually report out results and share details, especially as we started talking there about details of data? It seems like there's a lot one can benefit. And then we said hyper-targeting. How does this all come together in action?
Awesome. Yeah, I'll start with the merchant. So the merchant works with the supplier, they do their JBPs. Really awesome thing for us. We've been able to be involved in a lot of those now. So the merchant brings us along. I've been on some of the Walmart jets going out to see certain CPGs across the US. It's a new thing for us. Like I was saying before, we were kind of on our own. So it starts with the merchant. The merchant identifies how much should go towards advertising in the same way that they would determine how much should go to samples or demos or any other bucket, different types of business allowances, etc. They help determine that effectively, which when that alignment happens in the JBPs with the suppliers, it then needs to get executed into campaigns. And that's where our sales team, it's where our operations team, and we're 70, 80 people now on this business, the ad business, really step in and help execute. So say you're Pepsi and you've got let's just say $1 million budget outlined for the year. You've got a handful of folks on our side that are going to work with you to identify the times of the year that you want to plus up and promote and push new product launches or do something that you're working on and focusing on. Maybe it's a Q4 holiday initiative. Maybe it's a Super Bowl initiative, whatever. We plan that all out with you. Then we've got all these other steps we got to work out: the audiences, which types of members you want to target, what the media plans are going to look like, where the ads are going to run. Is it going to be in email? Is it going to be on our app? Are we going to use the data and go target those members offsite? All of that gets hashed out up front. And in fact, now we're 3 to 6 months out planning all of these media plans with every single supplier. So you can imagine basically the rest of our year is booked up at this point, and we're getting ready for next year. And
what a good feeling that must be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it is. It's huge.
This is good busy.
It's good busy for us. It's good busy for suppliers too, because there's a lot less, hey, is this the right creative what you want to use? Can you tweak that color? Oh, that's not the right product. We get that stuff ironed out well in advance now. And I think it makes everybody a lot less stressed out, like you said. So once the campaign executes, there is something called a post period after the campaign ends, where then we, like I was saying with the sweet sauce, we effectively look at who was going to buy anyway and who wasn't going to buy anyway. And then you compare those to people that saw the ads. You need a little bit of time after the campaign's over to do all that statistical analysis. And the good folks at RRI helped us build our own platform called Member Connect. So Member Connect crunches all that. And we have an analytics and reporting team that helps bring that into a digestible report. Every single campaign gets that report as a CPG. We walk through that with you line by line if you have any questions. And frankly, we've been doing this for a while now, and a lot of our CPGs that we work with have really stepped up their game, and they're becoming media experts. It's really an exciting time for us.
Yeah, what I love hearing you say is that with that post-promotion period, through the measurement, you're essentially pulling forward. You're trying to understand and measure how much of the volume that would have occurred in that post period is being pulled forward into the promotion, so you can really measure the incrementality of it. And that's pretty powerful. You know, Sri, I realize we forgot to ask Steven how many of the corporate drones he personally controls. I don't know if he's going to give us an answer, but what I love about Club is that obviously the assortment is radically different than what you'd see in a mass store. It's substantially smaller, and therefore the number of suppliers that you might be working with necessarily would be smaller. So from that standpoint, are you able to more effectively, say, than the parent with an enormous marketplace, be proactive in reaching out to all the suppliers selling through Sam's, or is it kind of I focus on the really big guys and the other ones I'm going to wait for them to come to me, but I am going to go to the big guys?
Yeah, I think it's the 20-80 rule or the 80-20 rule for us. But it does go back to our alignment with the merchants, and they help us a lot with that. They can say, hey, focus on this supplier, don't focus on that one. This one, I've got something else in negotiation with them. Initially, it would be us going to the supplier and having to sell them without any of the company supporting us. And we were able to grow a pretty big business that way, just simply because the tools and the reporting and the data is really powerful. It's not available anywhere else. As a CPG, you can spend your money in a lot of ways, but you wouldn't have access to the data for targeting members. You can try to target within 5 miles or 10 miles around a Sam's Club, but you don't know if those are all members. And then on the back end, how do you know, or how do you prove whether those dollars that you spent had any impact? So it's a black hole. So we've gone out and sold directly to pretty much all of our big suppliers. And now that we've got that alignment, pretty much everybody's on board now, with the exception of maybe some mid-tail and some long-tail guys that are starting to come on board still.
Terrific.
So, Steven, I know we are reaching the top of the hour, and I want to thank you for engaging in depth with us on media. But I have one more question for you, the last one for today, which really I'd like us to pivot to Sam's Club and focus on e-commerce for a moment, truly the nature of online selling. And how has that business been scaling for Sam's Club? Is there anything you can share with us in terms of where that's headed? And is that a large part of the strategy and focus go forward, especially with what's happened in the last 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. The exact numbers, I don't know that we publicly say, but you can assume it's in the billions. And the in-club growth rates that we're seeing are single digit, right? Like 5%, we typically report somewhere in that range, 3 to 5%. The online, what we call direct to home, D to H, traditional e-commerce, our club pickup, our digital channels, those two are growing at breakneck rates, double digits every single year, massive double digits. Sometimes this year, literally massive. Thank you. It's a huge focus, and I'm happy to be a part of it. It's really exciting to see growth in an industry, but also to be a part of it is something really special.
Awesome. And for our audience, that was quite a interesting conversation we had with you, Steven, today on everything Sam's, how digital is leading the way. I, for one, am really thrilled to hear that it's one merchandising, one buyer. Media is just part of the conversation and not thought of as an after add-on, bolt-on that needs to go. This is nothing short of amazing, and sort of leading the way with much needed retail transformation in the industry. So I want to congratulate you and all of Sam's Clubs for thinking in that direction and helping CPGs get there. For all our viewers, I want to remind all of you, you can find our content on cpgguys.com. Don't forget the Apple Podcast while you're there. We would really appreciate it if you can leave us a review and a rating on tinyurl.com/Apple CPG Podcast. Steven, thank you for coming on the show and really opening up the door and giving us a wide window into the world of Sam's Club and what's happening from a digital perspective. I would love for you to remind the audience, if they want to learn more about Sam's Club Media, where would they go and how would they engage?
Yeah, actually, I would say you can reach out to me if you have any questions. Come find me on LinkedIn. Look me up, Steven H. Carroll, on Google, and you can typically type in Steven Carroll and find me on LinkedIn that way. We'll give you anything you need as far as information about how this works, media plans, media kits, all that good stuff. We're really happy to have all of our key CPG suppliers working with us, and we're always looking for new guys that we're not working with yet, and help train the next generation of media experts on the CPG side.
So that's as easy as it gets, folks. You can just contact Steven Carroll. He and I are in touch every day. If you just follow me, you'll automatically see Steven Carroll out there. But please do get in touch to learn more about the wonderful world of SAMs and digital and media in general. To my co-host, Peter, a pleasure as always, sir, to do this with you.
Shri, I know that I saw your eyes opening wide as much today as mine were. What a great learning experience. Steven, thank you so much. This was tremendous. Appreciate it. And Shri, great journey. It continues. Another wonderful episode. Always delighted to work with you.
Thank you, Peter. And Steven, we hope you'll come back in the new year post holidays and we can have a good conversation about how holidays 2020 went for Sam's Club, which is sure to be very different than any other year. So we will look forward to that eagerly. With that, thank you folks for listening in, and we'll be back next week with more of this stuff.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you so much.